a hyped-up team that's going to be so interesting to watch. You see the Magic, the Magic have such great depth. They had it last year. It's the same thing I'm going to be watching last year.
I'm fighting the hype. Everyone wants to be on the hype on the LeBron train.
There's a
on
reason
the
it's called a
D-Wade
hype
train.
then.
I mean, look, let me put it this way. They're like, what's the point? They're not going to win. LeBron doesn't win championships. He's the king, but he doesn't win.
You heard it here,
Does
folks.
Dwayne
You heard
Wade
it
win
here,
championships?
folks.
LeBron doesn't win
You're
championships.
unstoppable.
Does Dwayne Wade
LeBron's
win
not winning a
championships?
championship.
Dwayne Wade does win. I'll give you that.
okay.
I'll concede that
And
point.
DC United also
But can
wins championships.
They win trophies.
They win trophies.
Regardless, when I look at the Magic, I see a team that could be so good, considered amongst the best teams in the league. I would say the
think
best
they
team
are
in the
already
East.
considered
And
one of the best teams in the league.
I want to see them do something with it. I don't want to see the LeBron D-Wade superstar. If I want to do that, I'd watch USA basketball beat up on Turkey.
Which is enjoyable. I don't know. So
They
USA
probably
basketball
play
beating up
like
on Turkey.
Toronto and a bunch of terrible teams. But
It is what it is.
I'll watch Magic Heat, but I'm gonna watch the Heat much
I
more
don't
than
know
I'm
if I'm
gonna watch
setting
the
aside my
Magic.
evening for the Magic game.
Magic Timberwolves.
It's good basketball. It's
about
good
that?
basketball.
How about that?
It's
The
good basketball.
Magic T-Wolves. Ricky Rubio. Oh no.
Too soon.
I enjoyed that, but I think you're a crazy person. The simple fact is that it's the Heat's championship to win or to lose. To say right here on Channel 61 that the Orlando Magic are winning the Eastern Conference is really going out on a limb, and I applaud you for it. But once again, you are a crazy person. Moving on to college football, the Pac-10 has acquired Utah and Colorado for the future, and will become the Pac-12. Will that conference be the second best conference behind, naturally, the SEC in college football next year? Andrew.
Yes, I do believe they will. Adding Utah is a big factor here. They're perennially a power team
In the Mountain West.
Even though they're in the Mountain West, they're one of the Boise State team TCU that people forget about. Go to bowl games every year, and they're a power team. You look at next year with the Pac-12 now growing, they have a lot of potential over other conferences. Who the other conference you would say probably would be the Big Ten in this place, but maybe if Terrell Pryor leaves, Ohio State. You look at the teams in the Pac-12, the basement dwellers in there are greater than the teams in the Big Ten, and the Pac-12 will have more potential, I believe, for top 25 teams throughout the year. Especially with the Big Ten. In recent years, Penn State's been waning, but I'd take I wouldn't take Indiana over say like UCLA, who is growing. And Indiana in the Big Ten is always, mediocre.
What about the news just came out of how they're going to split that conference into its two pieces of six? They've got the Southern Pac-12 and the Northern Pac-12. Do you think that makes the conference better or worse? Did you like any of that? Did you have the Southern California teams separated from the Northern California teams? Do you think that's good?
I mean, it seemed balanced. So I mean, that's the main reason they do those things. And but there's still a very deep conference. And a growing conference, and hopefully eventually with USC getting over its issues.
And all of those schools can continue to recruit out of
That's
California
a lot
now.
of
So
issues.
I think that'll be an incredibly important thing.
I'm going to go ahead and say false.
Is it
false.
the Big Ten?
Oh, no, it is not the Big Ten.
Big 12.
Oh, the Big 12.
Too
That
soon.
is correct.
With the Big
Big
12,
12.
which will become the Big Ten, and the Big 10, which will become the
all
Big
right.
12.
Minus all the college football craziness. Look, you look at the basement teams of the Pac-12, and
weird
it's
to say.
Washington State,
Wazoo.
Arizona, Arizona State.
Arizona is
good.
nationally ranked.
I mean,
Good. They're perennially okay. They're like Penn State.
they're
like a
average.
perennially
They're
20
average.
seed, you know.
Exactly. USC. I mean, we can.
They'll be back.
We're not
They'll
even
be
touching.
back.
They'll be back
come-
5 years
they'll
from
be
now. We're
roaring
talking
back.
about next
Nah,
year.
about 2
We're
years
talking
from now.
about
They'll
next
be
year.
roaring back.
Colorado hasn't been good since like '96, and Oregon State.
Known only for violence at their stadium.
Oregon State, who's been ranked twice this year.
I mean, you look at the teams and you look
Oregon, who's AP #1,
Oh.
and absolutely
I'm not hating on
truck
Oregon.
sticks
Oh,
everyone.
Oregon's amazing.
Like
Oregon
61 to 13 average score.
Oregon. Look, the Pac-10, Oregon, good now. Next year is what we're talking about, and you look at up-and-coming programs like Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri.
You'd
So
say
you're saying
Kansas,
these things are coming
Texas
back.
up and
These
coming.
I'm
things are
saying
coming
I'm
back.
I'm saying the Big 12 is on a comeback. They're going to take their teams that are they're average.
Right now, they're having a down year.
And next year it's going to be a different story in my opinion. I think that there's just too many next year there will be too many terrible teams in the Pac-12 to make it the number 2 conference.
So all these with the conferences, each year it's cyclical with which conference is power. It really depends on the recruiting and what's happening in the conference if they're having a good year. You see the Pac-10 last year was not the power conference they used to be. Big 12 the last few years has been great power conference, but they're having a down year this year.
Yep.
I think they're going to continue that down year while the Pac-12 grows. And then eventually, yes, they will swap places. But I think the basement teams you got in the depth in the Pac-12 overrides the depth of the Big 10 or Big 12 or whatever all these conferences are.
What about the creation of this new bigger conference that will also allow them to create this new TV deal? They'll have the Pac-12 network that'll allow them to bring in lots more revenue. Don't you see that also continue to build the program?
I'm sure they bring in just as much revenue. You know,
they
the
bring
TV
in-
network I don't think is going to impact recruiting that much, but I do believe they will have the depth and the personnel to overcome the Big 10 or the Big 12.
You guys are making this tough on me. I think the biggest thing to consider is the question involves next year. I think that Utah will make an immediate positive impact. I think that Colorado might become a basement dweller in the Pac-12. But I think the other basement dwellers, as Andrew correctly pointed out, are better than the Big 10's basement dwellers and the Big 12's basement dwellers at this point. The Big 12 resurgence, be interesting to see if that happens next year. But I think at this point, the Pac-10 right now and the Pac-12 next year are already on the ascendancy. And I think we can expect more immediate results from them next year than the Big 12, which I think is really in the trough right now, and will have to really build itself back up for the next couple of years.
Don't you think?
I mean, it's harsh, but I mean, Texas is one of the best college football programs in this country, and I mean, they're really struggling. And Oklahoma's, I mean, they're okay. They're a solid team. They're at the top, but it's just something about them.